Blessings Booktube. I'm here to review for you today this short story collection by Ian Moffat, and it is called The Electric Jungle, which is the longest and last story of the collection. On the back, it tries to sell this as genre fiction, I would say. It talks about Herr Dr. Roach from the Doom Planet Stock, Ernest Dark's Museum of Imagination, Kevin Butcher, the serial killer, with his crackling murder map, etc. However, as usual, that's marketing, and I won't blame the author for it. A better way to think about this work would be as a sterile love or frustration. Um, Sort of in the way of Georges Bataille's story of the eye, although not nearly as scatological, not at all really, but that's often overlooked in that work, that's really the theme of it, is about all of this nastiness is really deformation or frustration of fecundity, of fertility, of flourishing love. To give you just an idea of how matter of fact this is going to come off, one of the couples that fight in here, there are many, says at one point in the story Mother's Day, which used to hurt Ross too. I'm just not a touching person. I'm sorry, Ross. It's not you, it's me. It's just the way I am. Very matter of fact, very cold. I didn't enjoy this work, although there are parts of it that are very well done in what it's trying to do. It's just not the sort of thing I like to have done to me. So let's take it through the stories one by one. The first is called Street Angel House Devil. This is the one that's touted as a murder map story. Let me read you how it begins. I could murder him, she thought. The car phone killed their weekend before it started. It beeped just as she'd feared as they stopped at the holiday house. So here we have the typical couple on holiday. He can't stop work, interfering with their romance. She's frustrated and angry. It goes on like this for pages. The next one is Mother's Day. Lovely title, not so lovely in the execution. Here is, for example, how and I mean, there is some beautiful writing in here. Jan opened her eyes on the duck egg blue Venetians in her unit bedroom, each slender slat polished and shining to its end. No fur of dust marring one of them, either front or back. That is very, very pretty. But unfortunately, when that pretty prose is turned to certain topics, it becomes a bit, its very elegance becomes a bit distasteful. So here's how the incest section is, or the incest theme is introduced. Jolly seaside apartments, pink flat roofed building, fringed with palms, as small as a gambler's die. On it lies a black dot, the top of the lift shaft, a snake eye. We're going to see this image reappear in another story. The next story is called Love in Paris. Here, a young man is seeking companionship, shall we say, in gay Paris, supposed city of love, very gray city in my experience of it. And he meets a man in the bar who invites him back to see his wife. He doesn't know if this man is a pimp or not. He goes back, and turns out the man's wife is blind and very lonely, and that's why he tries to bring back visitors. However, the wife is having none of it. She's not happy at all to have a visitor, very uncomfortable. That's the story. And I think it's really the story that best encapsulates this whole collection. The Emperor of Waterford, I'm not going to give the whole plot of any of these others. The Emperor of Waterford is the introduction to the Walter Pater character, who's in this next story, The Love Hotel. His crowning achievement for his life is he's an architect who designs this, an amateur architect who designs this this love hotel with just, I don't know if you've ever been to one of these love hotels in Asia. They have themed rooms and that sort of thing. So this sort of outrageous love hotel. Let me tell you one thing about Walter Pater. Here we go. This is how it opens. Walter Pater first achieved prominence, as it were, when he pushed his tiny penis through a small fence in London when he was out for a walk with his mother. So we have these uncomfortable themes of this snake eye and the mother in juxtaposition, recurring. Sorry for that. The next one is the one that should have been, this one is Skeleton Girl. Sounds like a good genre romp, but it's a boy, a tragic family story of family loss, and the young girl suffers horribly, eventually wanders off into the bush. This is in Australia, to die, and the brother is looking for her lost remains. And the last one is the Doomed Planet story, which is, I think, one of the better. That with Dark Imagination. Sorry, I skipped that one. The third story, Dark Imagination, which is about the imagination of the museum. Then we end with The Electric Jungle. The Electric Jungle seems uncanny. You have a man and his experience of all sorts of phenomena in the jungle, and he's building structures and whatnot to interact with that. But of course, it's all seen from the wife's point of view, who goes off and has an affair with the psychiatrist who's, going to maybe treat this guy. And, well, I won't tell you how it ends if something uncanny does or does not happen, but I think you can already guess from the other stories. So here we have another sort of frustrated, and they're newlyweds. So she's distraught, right? Or she's just married and this guy's losing the plot. So that's Ian Moffitt's Electric Jungle. If those are the sorts of stories you enjoy reading, by all means do. Do not take it for a genre book at all. Here we have this cover. I think it was also kind of misleading. It's something that happens, from time to time. They try to force literary fiction into genres as a marketing ploy. And they really do a disservice, of course, to the reader, but also to their authors. Because after all, this author has created something beautiful in a different vein. Imagine if you had a wonderful cereal and no one could find your cereal because they put it in the dog food aisle. You would be a frustrated cereal maker. Okay, that's a weird metaphor to end on. So let's end with that. Thank you all for listening. This has been Ian Moffitt's Electric Jungle story collection.